Evening. Welcome. Got a little heater on because it's chilly. It's behind the camera, so hopefully it's not interfering too much. Go ahead and take a moment to settle into the mat. And as you come to a comfortable seated position, go ahead and bring your hands to your legs. And maybe you have palms up. This is a position for receiving if you're trying to call something new in, or down is grounding. And just taking a few breaths here, turning your attention inward. The focus for today's class, I've felt called to utilize the word fueled, which is also the name of one of my very lovely friends, her coaching course. And just this idea, this feeling of being fueled by the earth, by our relationships, and at least for me, and I'm sure for a lot of us, going into a new year, just kind of recalibrating our senses, recalibrating ourselves to the things that make us feel fueled. And allowing your eyes to open. Go ahead and inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. You might walk those fingertips out in front of you, forward, forward. Breathing into the back body. Go ahead and just release your forehead towards the ground. Allowing those shoulders to drop open away from the ears. And for breath of 2, beginning to walk your hands over to the right. Walking those left fingertips out a little bit further, getting a nice stretch in that side body. Using that right hand for leverage to kind of bring that chest around. Your next inhale coming through center, exhale over to the left. This time walking those right fingertips a little bit more forward. Inhale back through center and pressing up. Sorry, I'm going to close my other booklet because I keep getting distracted by which one is it. So go ahead and we're going to take a couple of hip openers. So bringing the shin parallel to the front of your body. I'm starting with my right leg on the ground. It doesn't really matter which one you start with, just make sure you do the opposite for the next side. Bring that left foot on top. So I'm going to press up into the ground a little bit, drawing my chest forward. My hips are not super open, but eventually with these openings, your shins will lay one on top of the other. In fact, I think mine's even a little better than it has been over the last few weeks. If you have a big gap here between your foot, your shin, and your shin, take a block and slide it between your shin and your shin until they can rest on something, until the top one rests on something. Just really going to allow a moment to take some breaths into this. Our hips can get really tight, often do get really tight. And being such a large group of muscles there through the glutes, just giving them a little bit extra time to kind of unfold, unwind, open up. Taking some breaths into that release there. Please check your face. Make sure, smile. Smile is a good way to make sure that you are not clenching your jaw or squeezing around the eyes or the forehead, transferring the tension from the hips into another part of the body. Just release that tension out through your breath. And then tilting back a little bit to slowly, gently release. When I go deep into my hips, everything feels a little tighter for a minute. Please just take your time coming out of it. Maybe you bounce your knees in between before we set up for the other side. And then bringing the opposite foot to the mat. For me, left, now right's on top. And then if you just give yourself a little push up with your hands, it kind of rearranges the fleshy bits under your hips and can sometimes get you a little bit further into the stretch. My front body is also leaning a bit forward. So nice straight spine, the chest coming forward. You can fold if you want to. I don't need to tonight to feel a pretty good stretch. Just if you kind of want to take it a little bit deeper. Sometimes it kind of changes the area you feel it in. So just playing around, doing what feels good for you and your body. But please, please, please make sure, especially that the top foot is flat. We really want to protect our joints from any extra wear and tear due to yoga. We're trying to heal the body, not injure the body. And that feels about even. Go ahead and release your legs. Again, let's stretch out long and take a little bounce. And if you have a strap, maybe grab that now. I really like taking forward folds, especially in Dandasana or staff pose, with a strap because it really helps me draw my shoulders back and keep a nice straight spine. You can do it without it. So either way, if you don't have one, otherwise, if you do have one, and you want to strap the balls of your feet, go ahead and do that now. Choking up on your grip, and then you're going to draw those shoulders not only down away from the ears, but back together, squeezing them together on the spine. You have a micro bend in the arms. They're not hyperextended. You're just kind of holding the straps, so like your hands are really where most of the work's coming from. There should be a lot of ease in the actual arms. And then continuing to pull, continuing to bend those elbows, continuing to draw that spine out nice and long. Head can come in alignment with the neck and spine. So as if there was a string or a cord connecting you to the ground through your tailbone and then drawing you all the way up through the crown of your head. Nice straight spine. Continuing to bend in those elbows, flexing those feet, pressing out through the heels, pressing those thighs down towards the mat, and reconnecting with that breath here. Nice slow breaths in and out through the nose. If that's available to you, obviously if you're stuffed up, please feel free to breathe through the mouth. I'm beginning to releasing the strap. We're going to take our hands behind for some support, and then taking the legs nice and wide. Heels come to the mat. They are going to be wider, a good deal wider than hips distance apart. And then we're just going to begin to drop one knee towards the mat, so both knees go the same direction, and then over. Maybe take a couple breaths in each position. I usually move through it with fluid motion, but you probably, if you have any tightness in the hips like me, can feel a stretch in different areas around the hip joint. It'll probably be a little bit different for everyone. And you're going towards getting that knee to the ground. I'm almost there. You might not be. You might be up here. And eventually both knees. The full expression of the pose would be both knees on the mat. Wherever you are is perfect. I am not there and may never be. And some of you may have never done yoga and already be there. It's all good. Just getting that nice stretch. Couple more times each side, couple breaths each side, going a little deeper than we normally do. All right, one more time each side. Breathing here. And up through center. Go ahead and take those legs as wide as you can, straighten them out. If you have a tendency to hyperextend in the knee, that's where your leg will almost appear to kind of bow backwards. Go ahead and keep a micro bend in the knee. Otherwise, if you're like me, who doesn't really push those thighs into the mat, go ahead and scooch a little bit of flesh out from under your sit bones, if you have any flesh to remove. And go ahead and just begin to draw that chest forward towards the mat, flexing those toes back towards your nose. Maybe you walk your hands out straight in front of you. Maybe you can come down onto your elbows. You should get a pretty nice stretch here if you keep encouraging those thighs towards the mat, pressing out through the heels. back up to center. And we're gonna lift up, maybe even use your hands, lift up through the rib cage, getting some nice height here, and then twisting from the rib cage towards that right foot. And then framing that leg with your hands, beginning to fold down over that leg. Maybe you walk your hands forward, maybe you don't. To keep my chest around, I kind of have to leverage a little bit with that right hand. So I'm really pressing through the right fingertips, left fingertips are barely touching the mat. Beginning to walk back up through center. As you come through center, go ahead and, sorry, my hands are cold. I'm gonna warm them up before I touch myself again. Lifting up through that rib cage, twisting from the rib cage, the whole front body towards the left, and beginning to walk forward. Maybe you're leveraging a little bit more through that left hand now, still dropping those shoulders down away from your ears. Breathing into your side body, back body, leg. Wherever you're feeling the deepness of the stretch here. And on your next inhale, beginning to press up through center. Right hand comes to the mat, left arm reaches up and over, beginning to bend over towards the right. Reaching out through those left fingertips, working on straightening through the elbow. You should feel a nice deep stretch anywhere to everywhere along this side body here. Inhale up through center. Exhale over to the other side. Nope. On your next inhale, coming up through center, go ahead and grab behind the thighs, drawing them in, making your way onto your hands and knees. Stacking those joints, inhaling into cow, exhaling cat. And just taking a few rounds at the pace of your own breath. And as you find your way back to neutral spine, we're going to do a little bit of core because I love core just oh so much. So really planting that left hand, spreading all fingertips. You're going to really press into the hand and really activate this whole shoulder. Go ahead and draw that left foot out and back, right arm forward. And as that left foot comes off the mat, go ahead and gaze down, find some balance. And then instead of doing our knee to elbow, we're going to actually bring that knee out towards the side. So the left knee towards the left arm. Inhale forward. Exhale, crunching elbow knee to the side. And forward. And one more time, nice and slow, really focusing on that core strength. I know it is extremely hard to balance here and move. you're even attempting it, you're doing a great job. Go ahead and return knee and hand to the mat. Go ahead and take that right foot out. Really spreading the fingers on that right hand, pressing down through the fingertips so it almost lifts. It does lift. It lifts the rest of the finger just a tiny bit off the mat. So you'll feel like a tiny space, an air space between the fingers and the mat versus pressing flat. So yeah, so kind of like you're just barely gripping. Okay, from there, go ahead and lift that right foot up, left arm forward. Find your still point to look at. Find your balance. Inhale, exhale, crunch, elbow, knee, opposite sides. Inhale, forward, crunch, elbow, knee. One more time, inhaling out long. Exhale, crunching. And releasing, hand, knee, mat. Pressing hips back, child's pose. Just letting that forehead come to the mat, belly rests on the thighs. Collecting your breath here. I think I will probably not need all the vinyasas I planned, but we will go ahead and do a few of them. I'm going to start with the modified version of a vinyasa, and I'll probably do it for this first couple, and then I'll give the full option if you're already familiar. Take whatever version is good for you. Otherwise, I'll be giving you a couple options. Inhaling forward onto your hands and knees, tucking your toes, pressing back, down dog. On your very first inhale, go ahead and step your feet to your hands, exhaling down, forward fold. Inhale, strong core, reverse swan dive, all the way up, reaching the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. And on your exhale, we're going to go ahead and bend into that right knee and just step that left leg right back. And then you're going to kind of come up, pressing into that right foot until that knee comes back behind the ankle. From here, you're going to continue dropping those hips down, drawing that belly button up and in. You're on the back toes. You're on the toes of your back and coming into crescent. So the hips should be squared off towards the front of your mat. Hips, hands on hips, or inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus arms, opening the heart, opening the chest, shining it up towards the ceiling, towards the sky. Gazing up. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. We're going to begin to shift that weight forward, chest comes forward. If you can, stepping nice and slow, that left foot back up. Left foot back up to meet the right. Now you're here in kind of a gentle chair pose. We're going to go ahead right to the other side, stepping that right foot back, shifting back until that left knee becomes in line with the ankle. Pressing out through that back heel, straightening through that back leg. Maybe you keep your hands in prayer position as you drop the hips down, scooping your belly up and in. Maybe you add the arms all the way to cactus arms if you like, shining that heart forward, full expression, crescent pose. with the folded hands. Inhale up, exhale back to prayer position. We're going to go ahead again and shift the weight of that front side body forward so you can lift that right foot up and set it down next to the left. Go ahead and exhale straight into a forward fold, placing the hands, bending the knees, stepping back to high plank. Maybe you take a breath, actually modified version, sorry, drop your knees right to the ground. Go ahead and bring your chest and chin, pressing through the toes, lifting up into baby cobra, shoulders down away from the ears. Exhale back, child's pose. Once you've reconnected with the breath or remained connected with the breath, hopefully, go ahead and tuck those toes under, pressing the hips up and back, down dog. Inhale forward, bending deeply in the knees, hopping or stepping your feet to your hands. Exhale into forward fold. Inhale, strong core all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. And then we're going to do the same thing. Exhale, step left foot back. This time, bringing the heel to the mat. Toes angling in towards the body. Maybe you deepen into this or come out of it, whatever you need to do to make sure that that knee is not coming forward over the ankle. Then you're going to begin to open across the thighs. So rolling this left leg open, right knee shoots towards the back of the room. You should be able to see your front two toes when you peek down. Maybe your hands come to your waist, working on opening that chest on the same plane as your hips. So if you were against the wall, it would be like a nice flat plane here. So maybe you keep the hips here, or hands there on your hips. Maybe you open the arms into warrior two. Drawing the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, dropping those shoulders down away from the ears. Maybe you deepen for one more breath. And go ahead and return your hands to your hips if you took them away, beginning to shift your front body back towards the front of the mat. You're going to swivel up onto your toes. Heel comes up, stepping forward into easy chair. Not that any version of chair is easy. Go ahead and step back with that right foot. Heel comes to the mat, toes angled forward, beginning to open those hips towards the other side of the room. I don't know if you can hear me, so I'm just going to flip around. As you continue to open that, drawing that left knee out towards the back wall for you, behind you, whatever wall is facing your back. Go ahead and peek down and make sure that you can see your front two toes. Knee is not over ankle. Maybe hands are on hips. Opening that chest across the plane, maybe peek down. See if you have a nice flat plane all across the front of your body. Maybe for the next few breaths, you inhale your arms up. Maybe you gaze out over your front middle finger. Warrior two. Maybe you deepen for our last breath. And then swiveling that back heel up off the mat. Front body faces the front. Stepping forward into your chair, releasing down into forward fold. We're just going to hang out here in forward fold for a few breaths. Taking a nice bend in the knees, maybe dropping your belly to rest on your thighs. You can take a really deep bend if you want. Maybe you're tired of being in chair pose. So also feel free to straighten those legs. Go ahead and play with the weight here. First, shifting your weight kind of forward over the balls of your feet. And then back over your heels. And then coming back to center or even a little bit towards the ball. A little bit light on the back of the foot. A little bit heavy on the fronts. Dropping your forehead towards your legs, crown of the head towards the mat. And releasing here. Placing your hands on your shins, inhale, flat back. Exhale, place hands, step back, high plank, knees to the mat, chest, chin, toes, push you forward into baby cobra, shoulders down away from the ears. Exhale, back child's. Belly on thighs, forehead to the mat. Taking a few breaths here. Got 2 more vinyasas. We'll do 1 more hip and 1 more twist. Really kind of feeling working in the spine right now. I feel like I haven't been adding a bunch of twisting in it. Feels like I should add a little bit more twisting, a little bit more honoring of our spines, of our framework for our entire body. So inhaling back forward, onto the hands and knees, tuck those back toes under, press your hips up and back, down dog. Inhale, bending the knees, stepping or hopping your feet to your hands. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, strong core, all the way up. That means, strong core means, exhale, hands to heart. That you're really activating through the belly, so it shouldn't be, the lift should not be coming primarily from your lower back. It should be coming more from the abdomen. Hands to heart. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Stepping that left foot back into a low lunge. Go ahead and keep your hands or bring your hands to the mat. Maybe shimmy that back foot back a little bit more. You're going to rock back and forth just a little bit in this nice, wide, low lunge. So here's where I'm going to be adding the twist. Instead of taking our normal side angle, where the same hand would be on the inside of the same foot, we're going to go the opposite way. So the left hand comes to the mat or a block, if you have a block. Otherwise, tenting up on fingertips is a good way to get a little extra height. If you don't have a block, pressing into that block, we're going to stay up on the toes of that back foot. Heel stays up off the mat. We're twisting here from the whole rib cage, like we did for our folds in the beginning of class. Twisting, twisting, twisting. Maybe your arm comes to your hip. Maybe it comes up to the sky, gazing up towards the feeling if that's available to your neck and it's not feeling like it's tweaking it. Otherwise, you're always free to continue looking down. Please honor your neck. Only look up if it really, really feels available to you. Revolved side angle. Go ahead and roll that arm forward, coming alongside your ear. Now, your right arm is reaching out towards the front of the room. Maybe you can still look up and really get under that armpit. Maybe you're looking forward now. Maybe you're looking down. And go ahead and release that hand to the mat. Keep your block close. Maybe take a couple steps to get up, to return that left foot next to the right into your forward fold. And getting ready for the other side, let's go ahead and just do hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, placing the hands while you step back. Taking a nice long step, but feel free to shimmy to get into that nice low lunge. Pressing those hips up and down towards the mat, maybe forward and backwards. Opening into our hip flexors. Maybe even the quad down the front of that back leg. I feel it there. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. Go ahead and put that right block inside the left foot. If you don't have a block, again, tenting the fingers. As you begin to lift your chest up, so as it's free floating here, you're going to really twist from the rib cage. So it's not just twisting from the shoulders, twisting through the whole rib cage. Maybe you keep your hand on your hip. Maybe you raise that left arm to the sky. Like, it's so nice when I can see myself. I have no idea how much towards the sky it was the other way. Maybe you gaze up. Maybe you keep gazing forward. Revolved triangle. So we're getting the nice twist here in the spine. That's why we're spending a little bit of time here. Also, along with all its benefits for the spine, twists are a really great way to kind of encourage cleansing through our digestive system and other internal organs, such as the kidneys. Go ahead and draw that left arm down and up forward alongside the ear. Again, if you're really open in the shoulders, maybe you can continue to look up. Maybe you look straight forward here. Maybe you look down. And go ahead and release that hand back to the mat. Remove the block if you used it. Maybe take an extra step in the middle to come back up to standing. Instead of doing a full vinyasa, we're just going to go straight in to pigeon. So the best way, I think, to do this is inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands on mat. Stepping back into high plank, shifting the hips right back into down dog. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, coming through to place it on the mat. The closer to parallel to the front of the mat that your shin is, the deeper the stretch is going to be. Go ahead and place that back foot, top of the foot on the mat. You really want to square your hips off. So if you are like, you stay up. You don't drop your left hip down like this. Go ahead and just keep it up, floating. I know it's a little bit more work to keep yourself up there. Go ahead and take a peek back at your leg. Make sure that it's tracking straight behind you. And from here, maybe You can make your way down onto your elbows. Or onto your forehead. But don't go down there now because we're going to come back out of this, beginning to press back up, tucking those back toes under, pressing those hips up as far as you can before releasing the right foot. Feeling extra dyslexic tonight? Sorry. Go ahead and inhale that left leg up. Exhale, bringing it through, placing it on the mat. Same protocol as the other side. This time not dropping our hip down to the right, but keeping it up where it's squared or parallel. Like if you put your hand on your hips here, they should feel even. Make sure it's not like tilting down on one side or the other. Again, you might take a gaze back, double check that that foot's tracking right behind you. It is amazing how much the feeling of our body, maybe you come down onto your elbows, can be deceiving because we get so used to feeling the imbalance that sometimes coming into balance or alignment actually feels out of alignment until we train our bodies to remember. So using any tools like our hands on our hips and gazing backwards just to double check that how we feel is not being deceiving. Your next inhale, pressing back up, tucking those back toes under, shifting the hips up and back to release, coming down onto the hands and knees, and right on over to seated. Oh boy. I got carried away tonight. Well, it's going to be just a couple extra minutes because in all good conscience, I just can't leave without a small Shavasana. So go ahead and begin to roll yourself onto the mat, squeezing your knees in towards your chest. Maybe roll a little bit, like squeeze them a little up and down. Roll a little bit side to side. Maybe in a circle. And maybe the other direction. Go ahead and release the legs all the way to the mat. Opening the arms by your side. Coming into final resting position. And taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, sighing it out through the mouth, wiggling your fingers and toes. As you wake up the body, maybe you take a long stretch with your arms overhead. As you're ready, go ahead and bring the soles of your feet to the mat. With the knees bent, go ahead and roll onto your side into fetal position. No rush here, but as you're ready, beginning to press yourself up into seated. Coming back into Sukhasana, or our easy seated position. Bringing hands to heart center, taking one last fleeting moment just to reconnect with the things that fuel us. So taking just a moment to think about that, see what comes quickly to mind. And as these fueling ideas pop into our mind, let's ask ourselves one more question. How can I create more of this in the coming year? Let's see what comes to your mind. Action steps, what actions, what choices can I make to bring more of the things that fuel me into the new year? Thank you for joining me for class today. Namaste.